Namaste, welcome to Buddha's teaching. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about Buddha's background, about his wisdoms that he had attained um, after his enlightenment. It is always a good idea to at least know some kind of history of the person that we study from, especially a master or a teacher that can potentially have influence on our very own lives, right? A person who can actually transform people, a person who can transform us. So at least it's a good idea to study about the master's or the teacher's background, the biography, right? Okay, so today we're talking about the eight noble wisdom or knowledge of the Buddha. Okay, so this is special knowledge. This is of higher knowledge or higher wisdom that the Buddha attained during his the night of his enlightenment. Okay, and these eight special wisdom here uh, were obtained or he got the breakthrough during the third stage of enlightenment. Okay, so that would be the final stage, which happened between 2 and 6 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so first, number one is that he attained the wisdom of seeing past lives. Okay, um, he got the breakthrough through his pure concentration. He was able to obtain the knowledge or the wisdom of seeing to past lives. Okay, and the way that he attained that his ability is very unique was that as we have studied in Buddha's teaching, the the lives that goes on has no beginning and has no end, right? So it keeps going, keeps revolving, and it keeps recycling over and over in different forms, in different realms, of course. So when the Buddha obtained the enlightenment, that is a breakthrough, okay, that he was able to look back through the previous lives before he became the Buddha, before he took birth in that very last life. And his unique ability in that was that he was able to go to whatever life that he wanted to, go straight to that very particular life and see the form that he was in, okay, see the realm that he was in, see the language, and see the family that he was born in, whether he was born in the hell realm, in the animal realm, or in the heavenly realm. He was able to go exactly to that particular moment, to that particular life, and look at it, right? So that is special because this knowledge or this wisdom here was not only just the Buddha that um, could attain it. There were also other ascetic, other Brahmins in in the Hindu religion who they practiced this also, and there were some of them who were also able to access their previous lives. Okay, but they have limitation. Okay, they could only go back so far, in a number of lives, and that's it. And the way they go back is that they can only go back to their previous life and then previous life, so they have to go back in consecutive order. They cannot skip and go straight to whatever life that they wanted to see. All right. um, and it was very limited to them, and that was some of the practice of the Brahmins in Hindu practice or in other religions back there the old during the old days. But for the Buddha, he was able to go back to whatever life that he wanted. He just went back there um, to that particular life without having to go through consecutively one life after another. Okay, so that is his special wisdom in that remembering um, previous lives. Number two. Number two is regarding birth and death. Okay. In this particular wisdom that he was able to break through was that he saw that birth and death was due to karma, right? There's karmic energy that keeps being going in this samsara. So all living beings are living according to their karma. Okay, so that is the second breakthrough, the second wisdom that the Buddha obtained or attained. Okay, um, so karma is the main culprit, is the force of birth, and because of that, and when there is birth, of course there is death. So during from birth to death, a living being, doesn't matter what realm we're in, that living being is serving their own karma. Okay, so that's number two. Number three is obtaining vipassana. Okay, the breakthrough at this particular point, the third wisdom that the Buddha achieved, is by seeing that the reality or the ultimate truth of who we are. All right. So in another word, the Buddha saw and analyzed and broke down the true meaning of I. Okay. That people usually refer to themselves as I, right? I am this, I am that, or me and mine. The Buddha was able to break that down and see that and see it as a form and a mind. Okay, instead of seeing an I. Okay, instead of seeing an I like every single one of us, the Buddha saw form and saw the mind. Or in Pali, we reverse it. We call nama rupa. Okay, so the Buddha, at this particular wisdom, was able to break it down and see that what is this I that we all refer to, and it leads it to the analysis and it break down the I that lead to the doctrine of non-self. Okay, that the Buddha discovered that there is no I, and so obviously then there is no soul, like in other religion who claim that there is soul. Right, there's a certain thing that has a soul that would travel from life to life, right? In other religion, but the Buddha discovered that is no soul, right? So there's no soul, there is no I. The Buddha saw only form and the mind. Okay, so that's why the teaching, Buddha's teaching, concentrate on this form and the mind, or we call the five aggregates that I have covered already. Okay, form is one of the aggregate, and the mind is the other four aggregates. Okay, and through this vipassana analysis, the Buddha it leads to the the different lessons that is laid out in the Tipitaka, okay, in the Abhidhamma and all that. All right, so it leads to the teaching of dependent origination. Okay, the 12 links of dependent origination that we will cover later. Okay, and also with this breakthrough, the Buddha also discovered what is the possibility that if we of escaping this cycle of birth and death, and this is where the Buddha discovered nirvana, right? And of course, it is because the breakthrough, the breakaway or the eradicating of all defilements of the desire, okay, of all the anger and hatred, and because of the breakthrough of the understanding of nama rupa, there is no self and there is no more ignorance, right? Before we have ignorance, the Buddha had ignorance because there was an I, right? Even before enlightenment, the Buddha also referred to himself as I. But after enlightenment, through vipassana, the Buddha was able to see through and there was no I. Okay, so that is the wisdom number 3, which is unique in Buddha's teaching. There is no other teaching in any other religion regarding this one. This is unique to Buddha's teaching. Okay, so that's why up until now, so far, I have covered about just this, right? Nama, Rupa, and we concentrate most of our lesson on the Nama, which is the mind, right? That we think who we are and all that. Okay, so wisdom number 4. Wisdom number 4 is a little bit out of this world in a way, but there it is. It's the ability to form, to emanate form in any place, right? At any place, and also to communicate, right? Using that form. Let's say, for example, if the Buddha sit here, okay, but with the special mental power that the Buddha obtained, the Buddha can emanate himself in another realm, show up in another realm, in another place, okay, as whatever form that the Buddha wanted. Okay, he can show up with as any form in anything, and he was also able to communicate in that form, which is very, very amazing. And that was one of the things that after enlightenment, remember the Buddha's mother, right? The Buddha's mother passed away 7 days after the Buddha was born, okay? And she took birth in the highest heavenly realm, right? But she did not attain enlightenment, right? She did not attain enlightenment. So after the Buddha attained enlightenment, and this he used this special ability, this special wisdom to emanate himself into the realm where his mother took birth and to teach. He went there to teach his mother, okay, in order for to liberate her from the cycle of samsara, which she did. Okay, after the teaching, his mother realized nibbana, all right, and became enlightened. So that was one of the special wisdom or knowledge that the Buddha obtained during the enlightenment. Okay, and number five. Number five is also special. Is also um, sort of like magical in a way, right? The Buddha was able to perform like things that we normally human being we can never do, such as he was able to fly, he was able to be at different places at the same time. Okay, he was able to go into the ground or go into the water and all that. So it was special wisdom, but and which requires a level of highest, of utmost samadhi meditation. Okay, um, but then again, this wisdom here, this special knowledge here, was not just it wasn't the Buddha alone who could obtain this particular wisdom or knowledge. There were also other people who could do this also during Buddha's time, okay, including some of his enlightened disciples, okay, such as Sariputta or Moggallana, okay. And there are also some Brahmins back then who practiced diligently in samadhi, okay, and they obtained the highest level of samadhi, and they were also able to fly and all that, okay. So, but that is just something for us to know, okay, to understand. That is the one of the wisdom that the Buddha obtained, but he was not unique in that scenario. There were also other uh, people who were able to get to that stage. Also, no, number six. Number six is the ability to hear, okay? To hear all sound at all frequencies in a way, okay? For us right now, human being, we can hear, right? The sound of a normal sound that we have here, communicating here and all that. But we cannot even hear what, let's say, the bat communicate, right, to each other, or bird, or some bird we all we hear is they chirping, right? Other insect and all that, how they communicate, such as, let's say, ants, right? Ants, they have their way of communicating to each other and all that. So how they communicate, how they speak to each other, in whatever way, we cannot hear that, right? But the Buddha was able to hear all kinds of sound, okay? Bird, insect, fish, you name it, anything. If the Buddha put his mind into it, okay, let's say if you want to hear something out there, doesn't matter how near or far, he was he was he could do it. Okay, so that is one of his special knowledge, special wisdom that we call, right? Okay, so number seven. Number seven is the ability or the wisdom that of seeing people's mind. And this one you can kind of relate to it, okay? As you go into the teaching, as you learn about yourself, about the who you are, about the mind, how the mind works, then once you begin to understand your own mind, right, you can begin to understand other people's mind, right? So imagine the Buddha. The Buddha has special capabilities, special wisdom. So the Buddha is able to see people's mind, what the people are thinking, all right? And not just in front of us, not in front, just in front of the Buddha, even people who, let's say, in a deep meditation, people in a jhana, okay? Or let's say if the Buddha want to see what the angel is thinking about, he can see the angel's mind, what the angel is thinking about, or what is the the being in the hell realm is thinking about. He can see the mind of that particular being. So that is a very special, unique wisdom, unique knowledge that the Buddha obtained. And of course, and then number 8, the special ability, the special wisdom that the Buddha obtained is of course related to number 3, right? Vipassana. Because of that, because of uh, the discovery of the dependent origination and the way that all beings are serving their living life by serving their own karma, and the way out, right, as the Buddha discovered that the way out of this samsara is through a unique path which the Buddha had discovered. It's called the Eightfold Noble Path, right? So this is a unique wisdom, okay, of the Buddha. So in the Buddha's teaching, of course, we always hear about the Eightfold Noble Path, which is derived from um, the wisdom number 3, Vipassana. Okay, after seeing Nama Rupa, the true ultimate reality of Nama Rupa, or of body and mind, and the Buddha was able to got the breakthrough that in order to not taking birth as Nama Rupa in the cycle of samsara, one needs to go through the Eightfold Noble Path, practicing the Eightfold Noble Path, okay, to cleanse ourselves and to eliminate the poison in within our mind, okay. After all, it is because of this mind that trap us, that keep us in the trap of samsara. So by cleaning this mind, okay, we can be liberated from the cycle of samsara, okay. And by taking the path away from all of this bondage through the Eightfold Noble Path, okay. So there you are, the 8 wisdom of the Buddha, okay, that the Buddha had obtained during the third stage of his enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. So I hope this is something that is, of helpful to you, or something of informative to you to just keep in mind, okay. So but the important, the unique breakthrough wisdom of the Buddha is especially in number 2 and number 3, okay, that lead us to most of the teaching, okay, that we are going through right now. The Buddha do not teach us to obtain the knowledge of flying. No, okay, because that is just something that the Buddha obtained um, by himself as he went through the practice, went through the search, okay, but that's not what the Buddha taught. The Buddha did not teach us to go to have the ability to break water, to break ground, or to have magical way of flying, or to hear hearing ability, or to generate different form in different places. That's not the goal of Buddha's teaching. The goal of Buddha's teaching is to liberate us from samsara, which is through understanding what is nama rupa, what is form, what is mind, and the way out, which is the Eightfold Noble Path. All right, so until next time, I like to pay respect to the Triple Gems. I like to pay respect to the Buddha. I like to pay respect to the Dharma. And I like to pay respect to the Sangha. Namaste.